Your boss wants you to find an article to post on the company website. When you ask for details, she tells you to just look around online and find something relevant. Do you A. Go online and pilfer someone else's writing? The internet is so vast, they'll never know. B. Find a really great article and tell yourself that crediting the author makes it okay to borrow the content for a month. C. Tell your boss you're happy to find an article, but you'll have to secure permissions first. And then ask for a raise for saving the company's reputation. Just because content is often easily accessible doesn't mean it's there for the taking. Virtually all content is protected by copyright and can't be copied or distributed without permission from the publisher or author. So do the right thing. Ask before you act. Often copyright violations are completely unintentional. But that doesn't mean your company won't be liable. Making or distributing copies of any copyrighted content, online or printed, is likely a violation of copyright law. That includes making photocopies, scanning material, using your computer to electronically copy and paste copyrighted materials, as well as forwarding copies to others. If you haven't thought about it, now's the time to start realizing what's legal and what's not. You and your company are responsible for your actions.
I represent a lot of smaller publishers, and the infringement we run into is simple sharing, or at least that's how it starts. Somebody gets something they like, and rather than actually taking their single copy and passing it on, they make a bunch of copies and pass them around. Or if it comes in electronically, they have a list and they send it out electronically. But what they're doing is sharing. From their perspective, they're simply sharing. What they're doing from the standpoint of the person who's selling that subscription is they're stealing.
It may seem like everybody does it and it's no big deal. But today, companies that get caught copying and distributing content in violation of copyright laws are paying a hefty price, whether they meant to break the law or not.
One of the great cases that I had the opportunity to be involved in was the case of Lowry's against Legg Mason. Lowry's produced an excellent small financial publication. Somebody at Legg Mason, which is a pretty good sized financial organization, really enjoyed that publication, and he started sharing it with people. Initially, he shared it with just a few people down the hall. They liked it. More people wanted copies. It got to be a burden. He asked his secretary to make it a matter of routine. It then turned out that, gee, it was a pain making all these copies. Maybe she could arrange in the satellite offices to fax out a copy and they could make their copies. Then it started arriving electronically. No problem to set up a group email address. Every morning it would go up on the server. 1,200 financial professionals every morning, if they wanted to, had the option of sitting down with their coffee and their donut, logging on and reading my client's publication. And all the time, what is my client getting? It's getting paid for one subscription. After a trial, the jury awarded my client just under $20 million for this infringement.
Want to share content with colleagues? Ask your company librarian to contact the publisher and get the necessary permissions to distribute additional copies of the content. Or, if the content is in a magazine or newsletter, ask to order additional subscriptions. You can also send your colleagues right to the original content source. Whether you send them a link to a website or circulate the original printed material with a routing slip.
Copyright infringement is theft, and it is a crime. So companies that engage in criminal activities usually get caught engaging in those criminal activities, and that can end up in bad publicity. It can end up in court cases, many of which are publicized, and it really does affect the reputation of a company.
If you're responsible for keeping your company up to date on relevant information, make sure you're compliant with copyright laws. Asking for permissions may take a little getting used to, but it's better than paying a hefty penalty for violations. For more information and specific instructions on content compliance, talk to your company's librarian or copyright materials manager, or visit www.askbeforeyouact.com.